there's a nice blending today between the epistle reading and the gospel reading. In the epistle reading, it talks about now all who have sinned without the law will also perish without the law, and all who have sinned under the law will be judged by the law. And then it says, for it is not the hearers of the law who are righteous before God, but the doers of the law who will be justified. And again, here we have another gospel reading that tells us that justification by faith alone is not enough. It is not who we are as Orthodox. St. Paul is very clear. It is not the hearers of the law who are righteous before God, but the doers of the law who will be justified. And then we have the gospel reading. And here we have Jesus walking by the sea, and he sees Peter and Andrew, and he says, follow me. And what does it say there? It says, ephes. Immediately they left their nets and followed him. Oh, that sounds really good. That's the hearing part. They heard Jesus' words, follow me. And immediately they left their nets and they followed him. Well, that sounds great. But if we go further into the story and we look at what happened at Jesus' arrest, his betrayal, and his eventual crucifixion, what do we see in these people who immediately left their nets to follow Jesus? They scattered when he was arrested, and Peter denied him while he was at trial, and then the disciples were also there, not at the crucifixion, only the women were. And this goes back to what St. Paul is saying. It is easy for us to hear the words, come follow me, and then off we go. What is much more difficult is to be the doer, as St. Paul says. So here in the gospel reading, in the fullness of the gospel reading, we have human beings, mortals, who with their lips say, yes, Jesus, I will follow you. And then their later actions, their doing, shows now their mortality, their humanness, their fear. And this many times is what happens to all of us in our lives. We say we are Orthodox Christians. It is easy to put that on our lips and to say, yes, we're doing it. But the question is, are we willing now to put our, as they say, to put our money where our mouth is? Okay, all right. I just have to make sure I got that right. Are we willing to do that when pain and suffering come to us? And when we are challenged? And there are many challenges that are facing us today as Orthodox Christians. And the question is, are we going to be the hearers of the faith, meaning that we listen, but the minute that we are challenged, then we collapse like, unfortunately, the disciples did, and then we hide. We have to now, St. Paul makes it very, very clear that those who are the doers will be justified. So we as Orthodox Christians cannot relax in the statement of that we are justified by faith alone, because that is not what the Gospels tell us. So when we receive this call from Christ, and we have received it because we've all been baptized, that's the call. And immediately all parents want their kids to be baptized. That is an immediate thing. Please, Father, baptize my child. But now comes the difficulty, and the difficulty in the godparent. That it is now the hard part. It is easy to be a godparent and to stand up and say, yes, let me baptize the child. I love that. That looks great in pictures. But now that's a lifelong commitment, a lifelong obligation, not only for the parents, but also now for the godparents. And so I wanted to extend that particular example because sometimes we forget what our responsibility is. We have been called by the parent to be a godparent, and we have immediately accepted that challenge. And now what happens many times is we fall away from that responsibility and we forget what it is to do. Or the larger theme of this is we must be doers of the faith. The theme inside of that, where that can begin, is with us as parents raising our children in a very difficult world and relying on our godparents to also extend to us that help and that aid that parents need so that they can raise their child in our wonderful, beautiful, and salvific Orthodox faith.